I want to ask the Minister if you honestly feel that TUSLA is fit for purpose and is able to deal with the many pressing issues, and I'm very concerned about the way it treats the Alliance of Birth Mothers and indeed who are campaigning for justice in relation to their own children.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. In relation to your question, Deputy, I understand that you're referring to the ABC Alliance of Birth Mothers campaigning for justice. I haven't met with the group, but I have received their report. It is important that the voices of those who engage with our services are heard. The sample size in that report relates to 25 mothers. They represent mothers whose children are either in the care of their father or the Child and Family Agency TUSLA. The report is concerned with actions of TUSLA, of the courts, and of An Garda Síochána. And although the sample size is small, the feedback and experiences of people who live through challenging life events should influence how our agencies work with vulnerable parents and children. Parents may find the decisions of the courts regarding where their children shall live to be distressing and upsetting. And so it's of the utmost importance that efforts are made to support parents where possible, and that a child only enters care where all other solutions have failed. While such decisions can be heartbreaking for a mother, the state, through its agencies and the courts, must bear in mind the child's best interest and safety and act accordingly. TUSLA, under its new child protection methodology, Signs of Safety, is working in cooperation with family members of children who are considered at risk to find safe solutions for them. This methodology was rolled out to all 17 TUSLA areas in 2019. So I'm very glad to say that the formal feedback from families who have been part of a Signs of Safety intervention have been positive, and TUSLA have also strengthened policy and practice where a parent voluntarily places their child in care. The report proposes that accountability, competency, and transparency should be key guiding principles for services working with children and families. I agree, and I also believe that these are principles that are respected. So I want to assure the Deputy that in Ireland we set a very high standard for the care and the protection of our children. TUSLA's valuable work is subject to oversight and scrutiny by HICWA, the Ombudsman for Children, and Corru in its registration of social workers. And in addition, the Public Appointments Service ensures fair procedures in appointments of the professionals.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy McGrath.
Minister, ABC, and I know it was launched some time ago, and I know Deputy Rabbit attended their meetings as well. Minister, I honestly don't believe that your TUSLA is fit for purpose in this country, and have this ever before this situation arose with the Alliance of Birth Mothers. Because I have had many cases, and I've handed you a dossier, Minister, and I hope that you've read it, because it is quite distressing. And it's quite serious and quite damaging. And TUSLA, the Child and Family Agency, has been lambasted in several reports in the last few years, Minister. For the first time, questions are being asked if it's fit for purpose in its current form. And an audit carried out by Dr. Jeffrey Shannon, who is very well respected, Special Rapporteur of the Child Protection, found that communication between TUSLA and An Garda Síochána is poor, with limited levels of interagency cooperation and coordination between them, falling far short of international best practice. This is standard practice all over the world, Minister, and I think a lot needs to be done. The socks need to be pulled up, and you need to pull up your socks very much so to get this agency into a vehicle that's fit for a purpose, and there are huge concerns about it.
Minister. Deputy, I believe that this agency is fit for purpose. Are there challenges? Yes. Are there failures? Yes. Are there children safe today because of its work? Yes, definitely. Is it a finished product? No, and further progress is needed. As society evolves, so will TUSLA. In its 5 years, it has achieved much. It's brought a myriad of disparate groups, technologies, and practices together under one umbrella. It has responded to numerous high-profile tragedies that occurred before its formation. It is important to acknowledge, I think, the good work, much of the good work that has been done and is done on a daily basis in relation to the agencies. In relation to my initial response to you too, I identified a number of oversight bodies that are offering us recommendations and analysis in terms of the challenges that they face and the things that ought to be changed. And those are are presented to me, action plans are developed by TUSLA, and then the action plans are put in place and are being monitored. I think it has TUSLA and its supporting bodies have taken many steps to ensure that it's fit for purpose, including their own Directorate of Transformation and Policy, which has made many strides in reshaping and refocusing its policies. As I said before, does that mean that there aren't challenges that are remaining? Of course there are, but I do absolutely believe that it is fit for purpose, that it is on the way in terms of the reform process that they've identified, and that they are able to, and especially as in terms of now, I think, you know, over with its new leadership, that they are able to build on what they have done before, and as well, I have fought and have secured resources in order to support them to do that.
Deputy McGrath.
I wish I could be absolutely confident, as you said. You mentioned accountability and transparency. It's not there. 5 years now, you said, they have been in position. And I said at the time, they were just hived off the HSE, so many officials, and set up and left little to do their own devices. The ABC, the Alliance of Birth Mothers, and all the parents are dealing with TUSLA themselves, and Gardaí and the courts. But this is a group who's come together now to be united, and they mean business, because they're not getting fair crack at the whip. And you said there's a lot more to be done. Yes, there is a lot more to be done. And I, for one, certainly would like to be half as confident as you are that they're fit for purpose, because quite clearly they're not. I speak to Gardaí on a regular basis, who they're dealing with cases all week, TUSLA and social workers, and next thing at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock on a Friday evening, they ring the guards. It's your problem now. Is that proper communication? The report found out that there's not proper communication within Garda Síochána, and they are the two statutory bodies that should be dealing with it. So I meet superintendents who tell me this all the time, that they just get the phone calls landed on their lap, and they have limited resources as well, and they might give all week dealing with the TUSLA and their officials, and then decide it's Friday evening. There's nobody available from Friday evening, 4 o'clock till Monday morning, and a bank holiday it'll be Tuesday morning. So it's not fit for purpose, and it's not doing what it should be doing.
And I will note, I suppose, some of the specific examples or information that you're providing there. And yes, we do take note when you do send your representation in as well. But I suppose I am suggesting back to you that I think there is evidence of good interagency cooperation, particularly, and this is what largely your comments have been about, between TUSLA on Garda Síochána and other bodies that are involved in relation to working with children and their families. As you know, social workers and Gardaís work together on a daily basis in the interests of children. And in the main, these relationships are positive and work well. However, the system, and as you've referenced, has benefited greatly from the audit of Dr. Shannon and other investigative reports on Garda Síochána, and in light of that, made recommendations. So what has resulted? On Garda Síochána and TUSLA have published the Children First Joint Working Protocol for AGS and TUSLA, Child and Family Liaison, to reflect the provisions in the new Children Family Act of 2015 and the Children First National Guidance for the Protection and Welfare of Children 2017. And that protocol covers respective responsibilities in key areas, including notifications of suspected abuse between both agencies, the role and function of each agency, confidentiality and information sharing, ongoing case management liaison, and liaison management structures and meetings. So I can assure the Deputy of the ongoing implementation of joint working strategies that it is subject to ongoing analysis and review by TUSLA and the AGS in the context of and monitored by this group.